list. All right, we are live on YouTube.
All right. Let's see. This is Gary Peterson. I'm the chairman of the committee, and I now call to order the Historic Preservation Committee meeting for March 9, 2023, 4 p.m. Can I have the roll call taken, please?
Sure. Terry Amon.
Here.
And we have Gary Peterson, chairman. Present. Edward Cons is absent. Terry Gottschall.
Here, but I can't get my video to work.
We're working on that.
Oh,
Hi, Terry.
And then we have a vacant position 3, so we have a quorum.
We do have a quorum then.
And you should be able to do your videos now.
There we go.
hi, Terry.
Hi.
Yeah. Hello. So we have a quorum for our meeting. Did anyone submit any kind of public comment in advance for this meeting?
We received none in advance and we have no attendees online or in person.
Okay. Let's see. I am here in actuality. You both are here virtually. Does anyone have anything to say or questions to ask?
Terry is raising her hand.
Oh, good. We can't see you, Terry, but the assistant clerk can, so we'll follow her lead. What do you
Okay.
have?
Just a quick question. Do you ever wish to have us join you there in person, or is it just as well for us to be remote? Do you have a preference one way or the other?
I don't. If it's easier to do it this way, that's great. I like to come in because I don't have as private a spot to work from at the
sure.
office. So
I was just going to say that I'm close by, so I could come in if that's handy, but I don't have big urge one way or the other. In the next couple of months, I will be remote, but I was just for the long term. I was wondering.
yeah.
Right now we are, we're operating out of the fire department because our council chambers are being renovated.
Okay.
So I definitely, when we get back into the council chambers, want you all to come enjoy that newly remodeled space.
There you go.
For the time being, if it's more convenient, and I know Terry Gottschall, it's certainly much more convenient for him. And so we'll continue to have this as an option, and if it works best for you, then by all means use it.
Yeah. When do you think the council chambers will be completed?
Well, they're behind schedule, so I'm not going to even predict.
Well, we'll keep everyone.
And Gary and John, I appreciate going by remote. I don't leave the house much these days, and then only on medical appointments. Although we do hope to go to Seattle in May to meet our soon-to-be-born grandson. But other than that, I'm at home. So thank you.
No problem at all. If I was more technically savvy, I'd may be doing it online myself. So I'm not. I'm reading from this kind of a board meeting guide. Is there I hate to defer to you, John, but what should we talk about?
Well, we have, I think, so we covered the public comment section. Now you would move on to the consent agenda, which is up on the screen there.
Let's see, consent agenda. Oh,
Maybe we can make that.
approve the current agenda. Can all of you see that and read it okay?
Thank you. It's nice to see a little bit bigger print.
Yes. Let me read it out loud, just so we're all on the same page. So approving the consent agenda or adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, the standard code parliamentary procedure provides for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the commission by a single motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through previous reviews, either at a workshop or by subcommittee review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all commission members and the public in advance to assure extensive and thorough review. And I did get those. I do not have them in front of me now, though. Do I have any comment from either of the other two members?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye, so I guess that's unanimous. Right. The election of officers, that's one of the things that we're supposed to be taking care of here today now.
Yes,
And we are still looking for a fourth member to fill that one position. I don't know if you've got any reports for us. I am willing to consider and continue as the chairperson. Terry is the vice chair. Do we have to vote ourselves on that, or is that something we can continue with?
yes, we need a nomination and then a vote on both those positions.
I
Well,
nominate that Gary Peterson to continue to serve as chair.
Second?
Do we vote on that? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Again, unanimous. Wow, such an overwhelming flood of support. I'm humbled. As part of my acceptance speech today, I would like to no. Okay, let's move on and see. I would like to nominate Terry Gottschall to continue as the vice chair for the next term. Do I hear any?
Second.
A second. All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Won by a landslide.
Oh, boy. Well, congratulations.
We're just flying through this.
Yeah, I guess we'll continue on for another year. Our ranks are considerably thin from what we had started at, but I guess that's okay. So in looking at the screen here, does this say something about a approval of a demolition permit?
Yeah, so that's the second item on your regular agenda. So I will go ahead and brief you guys on this application.
Thank you.
So Walla Walla University owns property. They own, I believe, most of the properties within this block at 316 Southwest First Street. It's in the north west corner of the campus. It's a small bungalow Craftsman that we believe, according to county records, was built in 1915. It is not listed on the College Place Register of Historic Places or the National Register of Historic Places, nor was it included in the intensive or reconnaissance level survey that was completed in 2019. Under our municipal code, the demolition of historic structures, there is a notification required. The city is required to publish that there's a call that there's a proposal to demolish a structure. That notice will publish this Sunday in the Union Bulletin. I also need to reach out to the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation DAP, and see if they have any concerns and basically inviting them to comment on the application. If we, based on comments that we receive or don't receive on local interest, staff then would determine if the subject structure possesses any sufficient community-wide historic or architectural significance that further public comment. If I were to determine that, and I'm looking to the commission for guidance on that as well as the staff and anybody from the public that might want to comment on it. But if we were to determine that there was further input warranted, then I would place a 60-day stay on the demolition application, and we would consult with the state and other local organizations to determine that historical significance or architectural value. At this point, based on the research that we've done on properties in town, don't have any reason to believe that this property would, has any local historical importance, but we'll, wait and see if we receive any information through that first 30-day comment period, and see what the state offices have to say about it, or if any of the commissioners have any information that they'd like to share today or in that 30-day period. So I do have pictures that you can click on. I don't know if you could open up some of those.
That would be very helpful.
While we're pulling up pictures, are there any questions or is there any information that you'd like to provide me with regarding this application? I guess before I open it back up, I did reach out to the university, and George Bennett is the applicant. He's an employee with the university, handles the facilities there, and they're aware of the 30-day stay. He acknowledged that, and they won't continue with any further work on the project, and also invited him to this meeting to provide any additional information.
I guess as chair, I would note that Mr. Bennett is not in attendance.
He is not in this room, and I don't believe he's online.
Out of informal curiosity, did George say I couldn't find it in his documentation? Is the university going to use that property for some additional purpose?
I don't know what their long-term plans are for that block of property. I think anecdotally, there's been some conversation about possibly building a new dormitory on the site, but there hasn't been any formal request made, or nothing's been brought forward to the city.
I could be mistaken, but I believe that the college now owns, except perhaps for one building, that entire block between Whitman and First, Evans, and whatever the next street would be to the east. We could probably look that up and see for sure. Bade? Is that it?
Yeah, and actually, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. I can figure out. I'm going to share my screen here in a second, as soon as that happens.
Should be good.
Okay, can you see the city map? Yeah, I get.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the area that between Bade and Davis and
Oh,
First and Whitman, this block here, I believe 99% of this property is owned by the university. This is the site of the proposed demolition. And sorry for the property lines are not depicted correctly, but this building right here, it's a little Craftsman. Actually, the streets in this neighborhood, Southwest First, Clay, and Bade have all been vacated and they're owned by the university. We have easements in there for our utilities, but
And I believe if we went to the north of the alley, the house on the corner, kind of obscured by trees, does the university now own that as
Yeah.
well?
Yep.
Well, then they own the whole block. I've been in the house in question and it is not in the best of condition. Like a lot of bungalows, then the living room, when you first walk in, is quite charming. It has a little bit of tile work and so forth around the chimney, rather the fireplace, but it's been used for storage for many years. There's not really a safe floor in the entry porch area any longer. The attic, minimal headroom. You have to lean over even in the center. It's not a livable space. I can see why they probably want to. I believe they've tried to find somebody that would be interested in taking it for free as long as they moved it without success. Yeah, there you go.
so this is looking at the east side of the building. Off to the left, as you're viewing this, would be facing First, the front yard, the alley, over here on the right side. It looks like it has probably the original clapboard style siding, the original windows,
Mhm.
you know, exposed rafter tails. It's, you know, it's kind of a cute little building and, you know, it needs some TLC, of course, but
Yeah,
a number of the windows have been broken out, probably kids vandalizing it over.
it's filled with plumbing fixtures and so forth that have come out of other buildings and then just been set there as you know, nowhere else to put them.
I have a question.
Yes,
I'm the new kid on the block, and so I was wondering, is there a certain age of building where this comes before our commission to talk about? Is there a window of time? Or do we? Are we talking about it in part because of its age?
We are talking about it in part because of its age. Any structure, according to the way our code is written, that is 50 years or older,
Okay.
could be considered a historic
Okay,
building.
Thank you.
property. I'm gonna try to scroll through.
there's probably some good wood there if somebody wanted to salvage it, but there's probably also a little asbestos.
yeah.
They have submitted a good faith survey that was done by a third party firm licensed to survey for asbestos material, and they will be doing a little over $5,000 worth of asbestos removal before the demolition would.
Typical
There's a-
college place house with the basement for a married college couple below. Family above.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has kind of nice windows and a regularity to it that it is kind of attractive. going inside was disappointing. The reason I'd been in it was Mr. Bennett had contacted me asking if I'd be interested in, you know, first of all, he asked who I had used to move another building earlier this last summer. And I gave him that information. It was a company called Dent International from over near Tacoma. And then he said, do you want it? And I said, I have no land on which to put it, but I'm always curious. So I looked, and that's why I'm talking now, I guess.
There's the front of it.
Hmm,
So I guess the door is probably not original. That looks like something maybe from the 70s.
Yeah.
So
do you think the projection on the east is original? Porch or something?
I don't know. I wondered if the basement may have even been dug out and added to the house afterward. It is a strange layout. The attic, there's a stairway that leads up to it, very steep, but no finish, no room. If we were up in the attic, the crossbar on the window, dividing the two windows, would probably come up to, you know, our waist,
Hmm.
very little headroom. And the underneath that porch thing is almost like it was dug out as a carport, but it's only about 8 feet wide.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they were smaller.
Yes, it's true. Steeper stairs and smaller rooms.
So, we're in this 30-day, basically a public comment period. You know, if somebody wanted to do some research, you know, they could go down to the county courthouse and try to do a reverse look back to see who may have lived there that might have been of some sort of, you know, historical significance to maybe the university, the college. You know, it's, you know, who knows, there could have been some professor that lived there for years early on. That's an option if somebody wants to volunteer to do a little bit of research on it. Not this, I don't know that that would prohibit the building from being torn down, but it would be kind of interesting to maybe know who resided there, who owned it, going back.
Of the 3 buildings in that block facing south, this is the one that is the most impressive looking from the street. But again, its condition is such that it would be very costly to even bring it back in its current without moving it. And to move it would be probably in excess of $50,000. So, yeah. Do you want, I've thought the same thing. Maybe I should go back through and look at the city directories to see if any name popped out, but I admit I wouldn't want to have anybody wait for me.
Well, we're in a 30-day period and it can be done at any time, but if there ever was a time to do that sort of thing,
Now.
it would be now in this 30-day period so that we could then decide if there was further need to continue with another 60-day staff review.
Is that
John, do you
something-
need some sort of motion from us on this, or is this for information only?
No, this is for information only. If one of the commissioners wanted to do some additional research, that'd be great. It's not something that I'm qualified to do. I don't have the resources to take the time to do that. I will do, you know, what I can in terms of, you know, I will reach out to the state and provide them with any information they need. You know, we don't have the resources to hire a consultant to do any historical research on it. So
I doubt we'll find anything, but I would be willing to go through the city directories that I have. And I think I could access from the Walla Walla Public Library back to about 1936. And then just go through and look at that address and see if any names pop out. Maybe I'd be willing to do that
Sure.
before our next meeting.
Yeah, the county, in the vault there in the county, courthouse, you can do a reverse search by deed. It's manual. I actually went down there and spent about an hour down there attempting to do it, but it's time consuming, and the employees there will help you when they can, but they can't spend a lot of time doing it either. They have their other duties that they're responsible for, so. I didn't make it very far back. Yeah.
Given its location, I'm guessing that the school bought it sometime after it was built. So some member of the community likely lived there in those early years.
You say it was built 1915?
Well, that's what the county record, when you pull it up from the assessor's information, says, but they don't. When you ask the staff there, well, how did that number come to be? And they say, we don't know how that.
I found that too.
So you really have to do based on some names that you can get relatively easily from recent years. You can go back, and they will show you how to do the reverse search. It's a little time consuming, and yeah.
And that's for ownership.
That's for ownership, yeah.
Gary, I don't know what kind of city directories you have, physical directories, but Whitman Penrose Library does have a variety of city directories available online, digital format, but I don't know how recently. I know they've got back some to about as recently as 1908, but I'm not sure about anything since then.
I
For
believe the
College
poll.
Place?
Go ahead. What was that, Terry?
For College Place, that is, Terry?
Yeah, some of them do involve College Place. Most do involve College Place,
Okay.
at least the ones that are of the 19th century.
Yeah. I think there was a company called Polks that would put out a directory, and they stopped doing that about 2000. So let me volunteer to go ahead and see what I can find by our next meeting and present what I find at that time. As far as who may have lived there, if there's anyone famous or infamous.
Is that the April meeting?
Yes.
So about 5 weeks?
That would be too late based
Yeah.
on the application date and when I have this published, it's just a.
Oh, so the 30 days will be up before our next
Yeah.
meeting. When is our next meeting, by the way?
It would be
April.
April 20th.
Okay.
And so the public comment period, I think I said it would close on the 10th
Of
of April. Yeah, because it publishes on a Sunday, so that they're actually giving people an extra day or so.
Are there any kind of, we're looking to do something we don't have to do just for the sake of completeness, not overlooking anything. Would there be anything that would prevent my contacting the various members and telling them what I found before the 10th of April at our scheduled meeting?
Well, what you can do is if you provide that information to me, then I can disperse it.
Okay.
And
you could call Terry and Ed and say
I would just send out an email
an email, yeah.
to the group and just ask you not to respond to the group. If you see something that is intriguing, then you would need to let me know,
Okay,
not the group, to avoid.
violating any public
Yeah.
meeting rules.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well,
Yeah, so we're in a discovery period, basically. If you find something, if your name, rings a bell. From an architectural standpoint, while it, sure, there's some characteristics there that are, a decent quality for a little craftsman bungalow, but they're definitely not in good condition.
no, unfortunately.
And I don't believe there would be any reason for us to try to save it based on that. And most likely not, even if we found that there was some person of importance that, stayed there for a period of time, I doubt that would be a reason to not allow the demolition to proceed, but it's still nice to document that, as well, do a little bit of research, because once it's gone, people will forget. The photos I've taken, will be saved in the property record folder at the city for eternity, as long as the file doesn't get corrupted.
It is shocking how quickly we forget and move on. So I don't want to do anything that would suggest we could delay anything, but I'm happy to do that just to make sure.
Great.
Okay. What is the next thing we need to decide or do?
On this application,
No, well, I believe this is all we need to do for this application where we've discussed that we're in the exploratory position, but
yeah, are there any parting comments on this part of the agenda?
Do you need an action before the 30 days is up?
No.
Okay,
No, the way the code is written, it essentially is my call on whether or not it proceeds and whether or not there's anything that warrants a further comment period. But I'm bringing it to you so that you can make me aware of anything that may
Sure.
be of importance. Okay, so, Gary, we do have reports, a couple of reports.
okay.
We're ready to move on.
I cannot read what's up there, but.
Oh, yeah, it's because you're looking at my screen. huh?
Yeah.
So we are in the report section and we have the historic cemetery grant.
Oh,
And there's not any, didn't provide you with any information in the packet. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. I was hoping to be further along on this than we are, but I had been working with a company out of Spokane and a company here locally. Locally, it's Wiley Monument. And the company out of Spokane, they basically didn't. They said they gave me some great ideas on how to, save some costs, but they didn't provide me with an estimate of any sort. So,
and if I remember, is this for kind of I don't want to say a headstone, but some kind of a marker that
Yeah.
would be there
yes,
at the cemetery that was beside where the county poor farm used to be?
it'll be on the Fort Farm Cemetery site.
Okay,
And so, yes, so we received a $25,000 grant from the state. And the original idea was to do a large slab, like a 6x8 by 6 inches thick slab. And then we would, would have a title block, like Walla Walla County Poor Farm and when it was established. And then we would list all of the known people that are buried there, based off of the research that Walla Walla 2020 did a few years back, looking at the county records. And so I have a proposal on that for a couple of different types of granite. but they are, around hovering around the $16,000 part just for the granite and the engraving work. And we also would have to there needs to be a foundation installed for that, and then some installation cost. So I'm looking at some ways to save some money on the slab part. So one idea I have is doing 3 slabs, individual slabs. The middle one would be taller, and that would have the header on it. And then also looking at the idea of doing engraving on both sides with the names.
Mm.
So the slabs wouldn't have to be so massive. And that, because the foundation would have to be pretty large for that big slab.
So it wouldn't sink.
Yeah, sink and
Tip.
settle or whatever. So that's why I don't have any real proposal to bring to you just at this point. They're working on that. And it's looking like, based on the only contractor that's been really willing to work with us has been Heritage Monument. Or Wiley Monuments, excuse me. Heritage they're no longer, well, they've done work for us in the past. They did the monument out at the Veterans Park. They're no longer taking on new business.
Terry, just since you're new, this cemetery is located in the Country Estates Mobile Home Park. You've seen it and seen the sign that 2020 had placed there, and I think it's probably laminated plywood or something with a number of names on it. I don't think that it's everyone that was ever buried there, but they certainly did a good job of finding what they could find.
Yeah, here's the cemetery site. This is where the existing sign is, and actually you
Okay.
can see the shadow of it.
I've seen the old building that's no longer there, but I haven't seen the sign.
Yeah, so this is the cemetery site, and you can see, we also did a GPR ground penetrating radar survey the year before last, and identified where a lot of these graves are. So you can kind of see the depressions where the grass kind of changes color. The Poor Farm building, where they had residents and tuberculosis patients and whatnot, was on this site right here. And that was demoed.
We couldn't stop them.
This is one reason why we actually have a demolition ordinance now.
And we do have photographs of that have been archived and professionally taken.
Yes.
So
So anyhow, any questions on that update?
no, we'll just look forward to what you have next time. And I guess the next report is on the anniversary book we commissioned to have done.
Yes, so Keoki is working on the layout.
That is the publisher.
Yes, they're working on the layout. Terry, thank you for providing your comments. I just sent those off this morning. And got a brief update from them. Basically, they're working through layout. And then Christy is still trying to locate about maybe a dozen or so higher quality resolution photos for the book. But things are moving along.
Do we know roughly how many photos they plan to use? Is it a big collection?
I know the last ones that we were working through is 23 of them.
Okay,
That was what was left.
I think that
They
there
were
are,
hoping for 100 at least.
yeah.
yeah, there's a significant amount of photos, and I can't remember the exact number that they have identified.
Are they all captioned?
they hope to be.
Photos.
That I haven't seen capture or caption.
What was the question? I didn't hear.
Yeah, could you repeat that, please?
Will the photos all be captioned? Will they have like individual captions or a little box on the page for all the page or?
I believe they are hoping to have a caption for each photo, and we will have an opportunity to review those captions and as that goes forward.
Just a question, they're hoping for another dozen or so higher resolution photos. Do they have a particular era or any type of photo they're hoping to find, or just better than what we've been able to provide them before?
The photos have been identified, it's just finding those same photos in a higher resolution, and most of them are, we believe, available. A few of them may not be, but we might actually have a similar photo of that same building or person. With a higher resolution, we just have to identify that and get it coordinated. And Christie's doing the legwork on that, so, and it's been a little challenging. Their hours at Whitman are limited.
With all of their staff, their students, same with the university
Yeah.
and the fort. Getting the staff at the fort or volunteer to get in with them.
So, and she's doing other things too, so it's,
Uh-huh.
I gotta press her a little.
Where's
bit
my building
more of a
permit?
priority.
It's all Gary's.
The author, Mike Denny, is also reviewing the manuscript, and he should have comments back to us. I think he said next Wednesday.
Any other questions or comments?
I have one more question. The draft that we saw looked like it had multiple versions of the same chapter. I don't know if how that turned out or whatever.
Is that where a paragraph sounds very, very similar on, say, page 40 as it does on page 13?
Well, yeah, and it looked like whole chunks of chapters were duplicated. And I didn't know, is it the latter one that's the more updated one? I wasn't sure, so.
Okay,
It's not ready for publication yet.
Yeah, they
No.
may have figured that out by now.
I mean, yes, I don't know what we should do or how we go about it. I thank you for making whatever comments you did, Terry. I was going to, I don't know.
well, Terry, you made comments about that in your track changes, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Or maybe it was in the email. I can't remember.
Well, you mentioned that in the email, just
Yeah, I think
basically,
it was just in the email.
and then I think you said that you made notes where where you saw that.
Yeah. Mostly I was looking at things related to the history of the college that I could verify.
Okay. All right, well, that's all I have so far for you guys. Cheers.
Let's see here.
So our next meeting is April 20th, 2023, and I believe that we're planning on having that meeting.
That, no objections from any of the committee members for our April meeting calling on that date? That would be Thursday, the 20th of April at 4 o'clock. Okay. So is there a motion to conclude the meeting?
I so move.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Unanimous. We will conclude this meeting and come together in 1 month. But you'll be hearing from John by email as to what I can find about who used to live in that house prior to that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
John. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Christie.
Thank you for your patience. I confess, I meant